something that I need, I'm checking out the thrift store first.
How much I spent on Amazon last year and was horrified. You're making it sound like it was some special thrifting app that you
No,
use.
it's just my notes.
It's the Notes app. Hello.
Hello.
Good morning, good afternoon.
Good morning to you. Good afternoon to me.
This is the Our Upcycled Life podcast. My name is Kirsten,
And I'm
you
Deidre.
are.
Deidre.
And we talk about everything upcycled. Crafts, DIYs, thrifting, how it all plays out in our real lives, what we thrift, what we like to thrift, what we like to craft, and some tips and tricks. And then sometimes we answer questions as well. But today we wanted to talk only about thrifting.
Thrifting. Only thrifting. My passion. And
Mhm.
I think we're going to have a really good episode because we're going to have some really good tips and tricks and techniques for thrifting.
And I think both of us have been thrifting a lot lately.
Yes.
Because we're both kind of doing our own projects. You with your new house and everything, all the new rooms that you have to fill and decorate. And I'm kind of slowly making over my house and just choosing corners here and there while I find stuff. So this episode is timely because I feel like we have lots of good tips and tricks because we've been doing it a lot lately.
Yes. And I've gone, if you missed the last episode, around Christmas time, we bought a new home, much larger than what we've ever had. 6 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms, and we were living in a 1-bedroom, basically apartment for years, very tiny living. So I have thrifted our whole house here. It's not finished, but I've been thrifting away. And yeah, I've learned lots of stuff that because I've never thrifted this many big things and so much stuff. I've learned lots from heading out to the thrift store, and I wanted to share some of that stuff with you.
So, one of the main concerns that I feel like people have when they're thrifting and maybe why they're thrifting, especially nowadays because of how much everything costs, is having a budget and wanting to save money when
Yes.
you're thrifting.
Yes.
And I know for me, that is a huge deal because when in the last year or so, when we moved into our house, I wasn't able to go to secondhand shops as much because I had a baby and it was just too difficult to leave the house all the time and lug stuff around and find things. So I spent a lot more money on Amazon. And against my better judgment, I looked at how much I spent on Amazon last year and was horrified.
Yeah.
So I'm not doing that again this year.
Yes. And I think also like Amazon, like when you're thrifting, you get stuff that's much more unique and different too than Amazon. Everybody has stuff from Amazon. It's boring.
Well, and it's, yeah. And a lot of times it's just like, sometimes it's necessary because you need, like, this is kind of jumping ahead a little bit, but I've been finding a lot of prints and I found this one print and it needs such a specific frame size.
Yeah.
And I've been trying. I even went into the back part of the thrift store the other day because I said I needed and searched through all of their frames that they hadn't put out yet and still couldn't find it. So
Yeah.
I feel like I'm going to have to end up buying that one on Amazon maybe. But
Yeah.
anyways, what we're talking about is budget.
Yes.
So a budget when you're thrifting, how much money you want to spend for things, how much money you've kind of set aside maybe for a whole room. So how do you do your budget and what are some of your like techniques in that sense?
I don't know if I actually really go in with a budget. I more go into it
Money queen.
but I'm more go into it with what I'm looking for. And if you're thrifting, any of the thrift stores that I go to, they're not out of budget. I mean, when I'm going and I'm buying a whole bedroom, a bedroom dresser for $20, that's a pretty good deal. And I understand if you're in bigger city centers, then you're going to have more of a price difference. Like where you are, your stuff might be a bit more expensive. So I don't find I have to budget as much, but I'm definitely, if I'm going in thrifting, I'm not going to spend the same amount on something that's at the thrift store as what I'm going to spend brand new. That's for sure. Like it's going to be a lot cheaper.
Yeah, but you kind of have maybe a predetermined average price that you know, for example, a dresser costs. You know,
Yeah,
new that's going to be, and minimum $300. It might be cheaper in the states
yeah,
because stuff's a little bit more expensive here, but um, you know that like basically anything under that is going to be a deal for you,
yeah,
especially because you might be getting something that's solid wood as opposed to laminate or something like that.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
exactly.
yeah, so you're kind of just looking at, approximately an average price of what something would be new, and you're just kind of looking to get under that when you're thrifting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And most of the time after I'm done thrifting for the day and I've found what I want, I'm more than happy of what I've spent. And I know I've got a good deal on the stuff that I've bought.
You know what? Actually, I have started doing because A, I forget what I need, and B, it keeps me on track a little bit because I'll go into a store kind of wanting one thing and then I get sidetracked and now I've got, and you've seen me do this. Now I've got 10 books under my arm because I've just
Yeah.
spent half an hour looking at all the different books.
Yeah.
I have started making a list of things that I
Yes.
need,
Yeah.
and this has actually helped my Amazon situation a lot because instead of just putting something in my Amazon cart, I will make a notes app on my phone of, oh, I need a lamp for that spare bedroom. I'm going to
Yeah.
put it on so that next time when I go to the thrift store, I can look at my list that says, a lamp, a 4x6 picture frame, a throw blanket, curtains. And then
Yeah.
I say, oh, these are the things that I've been looking for. And I have a list and I can remember and keep track of that. And then it also stops me from just impulse buying it new.
Yeah, and that's actually been game changer for me with the new house because I have so many things that I'm looking for. So I actually do have an app on my phone, just like a grocery list, except it's a thrifting list. And yeah, as I'm in a room and I'm like, oh yeah, shoot, I wanted to get something to put on this little end table here, and throw it in my app. And the only thing that I have to remember, because I get very excited when I go to the thrift store, is to remember to open up the app and
Yeah.
go through it and then think, oh yeah, I didn't look for that when I was down that aisle. So now I need to backtrack and go back down that aisle. But yeah, that's a great way of saving money, not buying new. And when you are thrifting, to have a list.
So here's a question. What is on your app right now? What's on your list? Bring it out.
I actually just went thrifting. So I
Also, what
found,
app is this? You're not just using a notes app?
uh, oh geez, cursed. It's just the notes app.
Yeah, you were making it sound like it was some special thrifting app that you
No, it's just
use.
my notes
It's the
app.
notes app.
And I don't know if I even have like I think it's actually even under groceries. And then that's where I have, oh she's, see, now I'm not going to be able to find it. Um oh, I have a video idea list here.
Oh, perfect.
I didn't even know I had. Uh oh she's, yeah, okay. I'll get back to you on that. I got to find it first.
The video idea list probably would have been helpful like a month ago.
Yeah, actually, I just looked at it quick and I've already done all of the video ideas that are on here.
Oh, okay.
So we're good to go. Um, but yeah, I have, let's just see here, quick notes. How do I find it now?
Well, you can
Oh
search. You can
no,
search in
I
notes,
found it.
right?
I found it.
Oh,
Okay. So I need a light for one of the bedrooms.
a
For the
lamp?
nursery. No, an actual
Okay.
overhead light for the you can find such original lights at a fraction of a price at the thrift store. So
Mhm.
I'm looking for one for the nursery. It's not really a nursery anymore. The kids' room.
Right.
Um, I am looking for a kitchen sink, a new kitchen
A
sink,
kitchen okay. That's
but
a
Habitat for Humanity,
Oh, right, right, right.
right? So
Yeah.
and what I do is I have the actual measurements in here too. So my sink
Mm.
is 33 inches long. So I know when I'm out thrifting, and that's another tip, throw a tape measure in your purse.
Oh, that
And
is
then
a
you
good
can
idea.
measure when you're out and you know that it's gonna fit. I have candles. I have bedside table for the black bedroom. So we have a bedroom that has
Okay.
the black curtains, and I call that the black bedroom. Books, just books in general. Cookbook,
That you're gonna read or that are for decor?
decor.
Yeah. You
Yes.
don't
I'm
really
not a
read a
reader.
lot
I'm
of
not a
books.
big reader. I know you are.
Mhm.
Cookbooks. I do love old cookbooks. You know, the ones that you used to get that the church ladies would put together.
Yes.
Fantastic home cooked recipes that are easy.
Mm, like
Um,
handwritten?
no, like they're just like the ones that you would have bought at a church bazaar, and all the ladies from the church would have put their recipes in, and they would have made this book. I'll show you when you come home next time.
Oh,
I've got a
okay, cool.
collection of them, and they're really nice.
Do you know what, speaking of cookbooks and, thrifted, do you know what I found at a flea market, like, probably last spring? Where I live, there's, like, a huge flea market that comes in the summer, like, I think it's once a month. I found an original, like, the first publishing of the physical copy of the New York Times cookbook, which
Oh,
is like iconic. Like if you know cooking, which someone might, but it was like the first time they did the New York Times cookbook and published it. And I found a copy of, like, it's not like a first edition or anything, but I found a copy of it. So it has like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of recipes in there. And it's the same cookbook that they print now. They've just updated or added maybe a few recipes. So I found one of those and it was
oh,
like
nice.
the outer cover was like a little damaged, but the inside is totally fine.
That's nice when you can find those. And they
Yeah,
have
it was nice.
really great recipes in them too, if you can find them.
Oh yeah,
Like,
do you have you ever cooked those?
no, but
No.
you do. And I find them
I
and I
do.
send them to you. Um, what else have I got? Oh, I'm looking for a big lantern for our fireplace mantle.
I don't
Like
know what that means.
like a lantern, like a big lantern that you can put a candle in.
Why do you need a lantern in front of your
Because I
fireplace?
saw an inspiration picture on Pinterest with one, and it looked really
Not sure about
beautiful.
that.
We'll see.
Okay.
I haven't found one yet, but we're looking. I'm looking for a coffee mug rack.
Okay.
You know the wooden ones from the 70s that you can hang like 6 mugs on?
Yeah, 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 yep, yep.
I'm looking for one of
Okay.
those. I am looking for nice cozy blankets.
Mm.
And that's the end of the list that I have on my phone right now because I was thrifting the other day and I did take a bunch of stuff off of the list that I was looking for. So, yeah,
Well, that's a pretty good list.
yeah.
I don't have my phone on me, but I got, you know what I do have on mine? I have a um oh my god, what do they call a teapot. A
Yeah,
teapot
yeah,
went out of my head
yeah.
cuz I when we were at our Airbnb last week, they had a teapot with like tea and all collected, and I just kept making myself a pot of tea and I was like, this is
Oh,
actually really nice instead of just putting it in a teacup.
you know what you should look for when you're, because I know out your way, you find all kinds of pottery. See if you can find
Mm,
a homemade pottery teapot. Wouldn't that be beautiful?
I know, I've been looking.
Yeah.
Might be something that I end up just like buying new from someone that made if I can't find one, but
Yeah, some artisan. Yeah.
yeah, so I have that. I have wall frames cuz I'm doing my massive mosaic frame wall that I've got like half of my I'm looking at it right now. I've got like half of the wall done.
A gallery wall. Yeah.
Gallery wall. So I keep finding all of these. Well, I have one actually, I'll show you. Okay. So this is like one of the ones I found.
Oh, beautiful.
And
Yes.
that's the style
Yeah.
of the ones that I keep finding ones this style, which is like
Yeah.
bizarre to me.
Yeah.
But this one is actually like original and it's not a popular artist or anything. But I found that building where it is in
Oh,
Germany.
really? That's so
Yeah, because
cool.
there's a little note there
Yeah.
from the person who drew it,
Yep.
and I Google translated it and found the building in Germany where it's from.
Oh, that's so neat. Yeah. And that's another thing if you're wanting to put together a gallery wall. There, number one, there's all kinds of inspiration on Pinterest to, because sometimes it can be intimidating when you want to put a gallery wall together, where, how to set it up and where to put it. So there's some great inspiration there. But the other thing is like, just don't think you have to buy everything all at once for a gallery wall. just start buying little pieces here and there, like what you have,
Mhm.
and just start small and just kind of work
Yeah.
around it as you go. And they turn out
That
beautiful.
was, like, I'm on, like, trip number 4
Yeah.
of finding things, and, yeah, what actually helped me was I'm doing it above a bookshelf,
Yeah.
and I found one big picture,
Yeah.
and so I put that up, like, center, and then when it was up there, I was like, "You know what? I think this would actually look good if you kind of just," and I've just kept expanding it out. And the other thing that I think is a really good tip that we've realized, and this was like kind of a renter friendly tip because I'm doing it on a wall that our landlords didn't want holes in,
Yeah.
is I'm using command hooks.
Yeah. Yeah. They work great.
So then it's A, good for renter friendly, but B, if as you're building out your wall and now all of a sudden like one kind of looks funky because you've added,
Yeah.
then you can just take it off and replace it super quickly and you
Yeah.
haven't put a hole in the wall.
Yeah, that's a great tip, actually. And I find where I am right now, anyways, in Ontario, I must be just in this streak of luck of finding home oil paintings, original oil
Mm,
paintings, and big ones. So every time I see them, I'm like, oh my God, yes. So I've got probably now here in the house 4 or 5 really big, beautiful oil paintings. And they're
nice.
they're great to do as a starting point for a gallery wall.
I wonder if I can move over because it's right here, and I feel like I want to show it just so that people know what I'm talking about.
Unless you're on a podcast, so you'll have to like kind of
Yeah, if you're listening, you won't be able to see, but then just go to our YouTube.
yeah.
Okay, I'm just gonna move quickly, and then I'll come right back. Okay, ready?
Can we do it? Oh, look. Oh, Kirsten, you need to have that as your backdrop.
Well, I know, but I don't have a table right there.
Ah,
So then it goes
gorgeous.
to the TV, and then I
Yes.
have another big one there.
Yeah.
Anyways, so that's
Love.
gonna go out to the whole room.
Okay, so here's what we're gonna do when because Kirsten's gonna be coming home in less than 3 weeks.
Yeah,
Yeah. Um, you can do my gallery wall because I have one. I have a bunch that I haven't started, but I have a collection of them. So you can put one together for me.
but I don't put them up. I point.
Well, that's okay. We can
Okay.
maybe we'll both point together.
Like I need an assistant
Well,
to I
actually,
say there.
everyone that's watched my videos see when James does a cameo every once in a while. He's really good to point at and tell him what to
Yeah.
do. So we can do
But
that.
yeah, I feel like I have a good eye for it and I
Yeah,
know cuz the ones up there like you can't see super close, but it's totally different frames, different sizes,
yeah,
like some are even circular,
yeah,
and I feel like it looks pretty good.
yeah. I love it. It looks great. Yeah, nice.
So, something I have been doing, which is another tip with these, with thrifting, and that I've been doing with my pictures, is trying to figure out when something is from, where it's from, if it's worth anything.
Hmm.
And maybe we can talk a little bit about our process when we're finding different things of how we can identify whether something is higher quality, vintage, worth more money, anything like that.
Yeah, that's great. A great idea because they're oftentimes snuck in these little corners in the thrift store are little treasures that are actually worth some money. And if you are a thrifter who resells online, on eBay, um, in marketplace, then you need to know how you can research these things and find out if they're worth anything. Everything from trinkets to dishes to books to
Mhm.
paintings. Basically, you can find, I can't say that I haven't really found something where I couldn't find a comparable online.
Right. Mhm.
There, usually, if I'm finding something that's unusual, my first thing that I do is go to Google search or your Google reverse search. So I will find something, not sure what it is, or I'm not sure what it's worth. You can open up your phone, you can go to Google, and there's a little icon that looks like a lens, and
Mhm.
you can tap on that, and it'll prompt you to take a picture of that item. So you're going to take a picture of it and it will bring up everything that it can find in the World Wide Web that looks like that or is the same as that, and it'll tell you basically what it is, what it's worth, where it's being sold, and that's a fantastic starting point for you to make the decision whether it's priced properly and whether it's something you should pick up or not.
Yeah, that the price properly is a good point because sometimes things look more expensive than they are. So the person, I mean, they can't know everything, and a lot of the times they're just volunteers. So they
Yeah.
like, oh, this is $20, and then you find out that it's like an old IKEA vase or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think that I do the reverse Google search a lot. I've been doing it a lot with the pictures, not because I really want to find out if they're worth anything, because I'm just using it for me, but I honestly just want to know like the story behind them, which has been
Yeah.
really cool. So I've been looking up some of the ones that I got, and yeah, like I found a couple of painters that were like old Canadian painters or drawers that you kind of learn the background of, and then there was a print that I got that's a very, very old print. Like you can tell it's probably like 60s. And I reverse Google image searched, and it happened to be a print of Britain's most favorite painting, oil
Oh,
painting. Like it was
okay.
voted on by the people, and it's hanging in the Royal Academy Museum in Britain that
Okay.
I've been to. Actually, it's a really cool museum. Um, and it was painted in like 1600 something, and
Oh,
so some person just had like this really old print of this painting, and I would have never known.
yeah.
And then it's kind of cool because when people come they're like, oh, what's this? And then it's like, oh, I found it at a thrift store, but also
Yeah,
here's a
you have
story
the
behind it.
background story. And that
Yeah.
leads to kind of one of my last videos where I had bought, this is a mistake that I made. I had bought a cabinet. It wasn't a thrift store, it was like an antique store.
Mm.
More like a rummage store. Like it wasn't priced like an antique, but anyway, so I picked up this cabinet and I think I paid 40 or $50 for it. And it had this paint on it that I had was having a really hard time getting off. I wanted to strip it down and then just take it back to its natural wood. I couldn't get the paint off. I ended up leaving it, and I have a whole video of the whole process of it. Ended up leaving it and just sealing it up with polyacrylic sealer. I never did a Google reverse search on it, not knowing. Well, I had someone in my comments pop up and say, hey, you might want to do some research on that. I think it's a Larkin Soap Company cabinet.
Mhm.
And sure enough, I went right directly. As soon as I got that comment, I'm like, really? And so I went right to my kitchen, took a picture of it. Sure enough, it was a flippin' Larkin Soap Company
Yeah.
display cabinet, and it was worth $1,500.
Wow.
I know.
That's pretty.
Not that it
But
was
then
worth
it's like,
thousands and thousands, but still, it's like, like that's a pretty good price for something that I just paid $50 for. And luckily, I didn't slap chalk paint on it and distress it. And
could
you know
you
what I mean?
imagine?
Like, I was just thankful that I didn't go and change it anymore. I was trying to get it back to its original.
Mhm.
So another reason why uh, it's really fun and it's also important to do some research on stuff when you're buying things. I mean, some things you're going to pick them up and you're going to know exactly, you know, it's worth $10. But if there's any doubt that you have, just take a couple seconds and do the research.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it too is as you start thrifting more, and I found with clothes for myself, especially when I was selling like vintage clothes and stuff, you learn to identify things that can kind of like tip you off that it might be vintage. So looking at tags is a big thing
Yeah.
for clothes. I always found like if I pick something up, I'm like, this might feel like it's like 100% silk.
Yeah.
Well, then check the tag, and if it is, there's a good chance that it's high quality because no one uses 100% silk unless it's selling for a lot of money, or be vintage because that was when they just made clothes,
Yeah.
with better threads. um I would always look for the country of origin. So anytime anything said it was made in Canada, vintage, because
Yeah.
nothing is made in Canada anymore.
No.
So that I knew that would, unless it's like a higher end brand, but I kind of know those brands like that would be made in Canada, so I would know if it was vintage or not. And that would be the same for like made in, if it said it's made in the USA, like again, most likely vintage because no clothes are made in Canada or the USA
Yeah,
anymore.
exactly. Yeah.
Um, yeah, and then you kind of just like you can like probably relate to this too, where it's like as you're searching, like you kind of just like touch things and you just kind of know.
Yeah.
Like you just know that it's like this is not new, this is not, something of crappy quality. This is like definitely made in an era where maybe things were craftsmanship was a little more important than maybe it is now.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
And you
you kind
can
of have like you develop an eye for it.
Yeah, and the other thing that you can just talking about quality too is glassware or
Mm.
crystal. A lot of times you can pick a piece up and you can tell just by picking it up that it's a good quality piece of crystal. You can also like give it a little twang, and if it's crystal, it'll have a high pitched ding to it. If it's just glass, it will have like a thunk sound. And it's kind of hard to explain. It's almost something you'd have to hear, but you can tell the difference between a good quality crystal and just glass. And
Do you do you know like cuz now I'm thinking of like like you know how when you flip plates and stuff over like it has made in whatever,
yeah,
like I don't for that kind of stuff like I don't really know where like cuz like a lot of glass is made in Italy. Like
mhm,
IKEA glass is made in Italy. And like that sounds fancy, but then you're like everything is made in Italy if it's glass.
yeah.
So it's like I don't really know like what to look for in that area.
Well, and again, like take a picture of it because
Yeah.
it'll show up and you'll get some information from it from there. And the weight of it also will tell you the difference too. Go
Yeah.
and pick up a wine glass from the dollar store and then find a good quality wine glass from the thrift store and you'll know the difference.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can find a lot of like a lot of good quality glassware and plates and cups and stuff at the thrift store because it does tend to be something that like maybe doesn't sell as easily, so you just offload it.
Yeah. It's one of the I often think sometimes, and I know I'm like the extreme thrifter, but imagine if there was this law where you couldn't go to the dollar store and buy a spatula unless you went to the thrift store first and saw that they had a spatula, and then you were allowed in the dollar store. Can you imagine if we lived in that world?
If it was in just that particular circumstance, maybe that would be okay, but I feel like that would be extrapolated to something that would not be good. But
Probably not.
I see where you're going
You
to
see my
coming
theory
from.
of it all.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, it also is like it's just that's why again the list is so important. So
Yeah.
that if you do need a spatula and you are at the thrift store and you have it on your list,
Yes.
then you don't forget and have to make that like quick Amazon buy or quick dollar store buy, which a lot of times is they're just crap quality anyway. So
And I'm not saying I do get a lot of stuff on Amazon, which
oh, so do I.
but
Yeah.
it's like products to like I just bought some rub and buff, which
Yeah.
is like that. I don't know if people are familiar with that, but you can rub it on your projects and it'll give it like a gold finish. We can't find it around here. It's not in our craft
Mm,
store. So I'm limited. The only place where I can find it is to order it online. Um, and that kind of stuff, because I live in a small area, I am limited and I have to have stuff that I am ordering from Amazon, every once in a while. But basically everything else, if it's something that I need, I'm checking at the thrift store first, and then I'm going to the next spot if I can't find it.
yeah, especially if it's something that you have like maybe a specific size you need to
Yeah.
fill or
Yeah.
something. Like you're kind of you try to look and then you're not really finding what you're looking for. And honestly, it's also just like it's a lesson in patience and like waiting for the right thing because so many things now are just instant and you can have that instant gratification.
Yeah.
And if you let yourself go on the hunt and if you let yourself take the time to find something, like in the end, it's so much more rewarding.
Yeah.
And that's just a good life lesson all around,
I think so.
I feel like.
I think so too.
Kirsten's life lessons.
um Yeah, so I'm trying to think of the last thing that I thrifted. I got 2
Oh,
stories.
that's a good idea. What's the last thing you thrifted and what did you do with it? That's a
Okay,
good
so
one.
the I
You can
just
answer and then I can answer.
okay, so the last thing that I thrifted, was last week. I went out on Thursday, and I found a solid maple plant stand,
Oh,
corner
right, right,
plant
right.
stand. I think I sent you the picture of it.
Mhm.
Very heavy, very well made. Probably was from the 60s, maybe 70s. And yeah, I picked it up for $50 and threw it in my house, put it in the exact corner where I wanted it, and filled it right up full of plants. And it's gorgeous.
Yeah, I think you sent me a picture and then I said you're gonna have to hide it because
Your
my kid
kid.
is gonna pull it down.
Yeah, the plants are going to have to go up higher.
Yeah. No, he'll pull the whole thing down.
Oh, geez.
It's
Yeah,
not
well,
just plants, like, it'll pull so, before I say mine, I made a lamp. It's like I just spray painted it and whatever. Put it in the living room. It's been out of the living room for a while because we just had to move everything out so that I didn't have to worry about anything. And I was like, I feel like he's getting better and we can start maybe moving a couple things back into the living room, like for comfort. Like it's nice to have a lamp on at night. And he has been grabbing it and swinging and pulling it. But I'm like, the plug is hidden behind something, like it's hidden behind a shelf, so he can't get at the plug. But I'm just like, I feel like I just have to keep it in, and he has to learn he can't touch it. But
yeah,
it's like,
yeah,
yeah, it's been a lot.
I know. But it looks like a toy. It's a good toy.
It's probably fun, to be honest,
Yeah.
swinging it all around. Um, Last thing I thrifted. Well, I did get all those frames that I showed.
Yeah.
That's been my main thing. But the last real thing that I thrifted outside of all those frames was I have been looking for something to place all my like throw blankets and pillows in for my living room.
Mhm.
And I was at the thrift store and I found this. I think it's homemade. It must be. But this box that looks like it's made from driftwood, like it honestly looks like the wood looks like it's from like an old ship. Like that's kind of the
Mm.
style of it, like nautical themed. Stained very, very dark, like which is my style, very dark raw edge wood with like a raw handle, like a raw, and it's probably about this big,
Okay.
this deep. So
Yep.
all my blankets fit in. And I haven't reverse Google searched it. I maybe should, but I'm assuming it's handmade. It looks very, very vintage. Like if I were to guess, I would say early 1900s.
Nice.
And it was $45.
Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah, I took it up to the front and it was one of those ones where they're like, "Oh, where did you get that?" And I said, "You had it in your store. You could have bought it, but I'm taking it home now."
It's such a good feeling when you find those treasures like that, though.
Yeah, and it looks like it's one of those things where like as soon as I put it in the room, it made everything feel so much cozier.
Yeah.
Like just that one piece that and so I was happy about that.
Ah, nice
That's the
snag.
last thing I thrifted.
Yeah, good. What else can we talk about for thrifting tips and tricks? Do you
Oh,
have I know what we
good.
can talk about. Okay, so
Mm,
you're going into a thrift store, you're going into Value Village. Where do you
mhm.
go first?
Mm,
Do you
that's a good question. I'm trying
systematically
you know, I am very probably lame in that I follow where they want you to go first.
Yeah,
Like, if you go and you, like usually it's laid out where you come in and you go to the right, and that's where all the, like, home decor kitchen stuff is. I'll go through that. I'll take a look at the books, then I'll go to the clothes, and then that's kind of it.
yeah,
I kinda just do it that way. It really but if I am looking for something, like, specific, I will just go to that. Like, if I know that I'm looking for home decor more than clothes, then, like, oftentimes I won't even look at the clothes because you can just I'll get so, like, deep in it and have been there for 45 minutes before I even looked at what I'm looking at.
yeah,
So I do kind of like if I know roughly like I think I'm gonna get new curtains for my living room. And so next time I go, I'm going right to the curtains so I don't get sidetracked.
yeah.
So that's kind of what I do.
I know. I kind of feel that like when I go, I do the same thing. I kind of have that system where I go houseware, bedding, sheets. Like I just kind of follow the way they want you to in the store. But not very often do I go in and go directly to what I'm looking for because I have FOMO that I'm going to miss out on something.
Yeah.
But
I'll go there first, mainly because I'm like excited. Like I'm excited about what I might find, so I want to hit that first, and then but I will take a look around everything. Like I
yeah,
will just because like you said, like what if today is the day?
I
You
know.
never, and what if you didn't look?
I know. I
But if you
know.
didn't
And
look, you won't know. So then it doesn't matter anyways. But
I know. And that's yeah, that's the one thing that I have been trying. So I we have a huge we have a huge living room and it has 6 windows in it. And I wanted
mhm,
the same curtains for all of the windows, which is virtually impossible to thrift that many. So I did
yeah,
end up having to buy curtains for the living room. But now I'm looking for curtains for our bedroom. Excuse me. And it's only 4 windows. So I've been
mm,
hunting for curtains for the bedroom and I'm being very patient. And every time I go to all the different thrift stores, I'm looking in each store and I can't find any. I can find
yeah.
like enough for 3 windows and it's like, "Oh my god, yeah, it's perfect." And then it's like, "Oh, there's not enough." So, I'm being patient. I'm kind of like waiting it out, knowing that I probably will eventually find them, but I don't want to buy new.
Yeah, I'm just starting my curtain journey because I just decided last night that I'm gonna put curtains in because the ones that are in here are like there's no texture to them whatsoever and they're just gray. Like
Yeah.
it just feels cold and I
Yeah.
feel like I need something to warm it up. But yeah, I'm kind of feeling like I'm gonna have a little bit of a difficult time because they're also long. Like they need to be really long.
Yeah. It's a lot easier to find them for one patio door or one window though than trying to find them for like 4 windows or
Yeah,
6
all match.
windows.
Maybe you need to just find some fabric and make your own.
I could, but I kind of have the feeling that then because fabric's expensive. So
No, you find fabric at the thrift store and then make your own.
true.
Mm.
I why did I not think about to looking through the fabric? I don't
I
know.
don't
I guess
know.
I'm gonna have to do that next time I go through. And I have my sewing machine. It would be a very
Yeah.
basic, like I'm not a seamstress at all. It would be a very basic panel, but I probably could do that.
But I don't think you really need anything crazy because at the
No.
bottom, you would just have to do one fold up,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then at the top, like if you could just do like
A rod.
again a fold over rod.
Yeah, yeah. I should look at the fabric next time I'm there. Yeah, I'll do that. But then, you know what happens? I'll look at the fabric, but then I'll find the curtains because I'm looking for fabric.
That's true.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
yeah. Well,
Well, I think I've given all my tips. I
yeah.
don't think I have anything left.
No, I think that I think we hit some really good pointers. The big thing is have a list, set a budget, and make sure you're using Google search if you're trying to find out any information on something. So, yeah.
Yeah. And there's a lot of other stuff that you can do. I just don't follow a lot of it. So I
No,
would be
because we
lying.
get caught up in the excitement.
Yeah. Like you there's a lot of things like you could just shop on off season or shop after and it's like, yeah, that's great. I don't do that
No.
because I don't my life is not that organized. So
No,
I
but
don't feel
actually
like I
that is
should.
it. We should have actually maybe talked about that a bit because that is a good pointer. If you're looking if it's off season and, you
If
see
you are an organized enough person
yeah,
that after Christmas in February, you have Christmas 2026 bins that go in your garage, then go for it.
yes.
Not that person.
Yes, because I actually have thought about that I should pick up because I do have a bin that I could put stuff in, and if you're on a budget and you wanna save some money, you can always look through the seasonal stuff and pick stuff up cheaper. We're coming up upon Easter. Don't go to the dollar store and buy Easter decor before you check the thrift store
Mhm.
because
And maybe get a little creative. You
yeah.
know, you could make things that aren't necessarily labeled Easter, but that look very. Do you decorate for Easter?
I might a little bit because you guys will be here.
Oh yeah.
Maybe we'll dye some Easter eggs.
Bodie needs an Easter basket.
I know.
I have one for him, but I'm not fine with it. So
We'll
you're
find,
gonna have to get a new one.
we'll get something organized.
Mhm.
All right, that's great.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, hopefully this was helpful on your thrifting journey. If you have any other tips that we didn't talk about, feel free to write them down in the comments because I'm sure other people would love to hear them or see them, or let us know what you last thrifted.
Yep.
What was your last good find? That would be a good conversation.
Yeah.
Plus, it's fun to read them.
Yeah, it is. It's
So,
lots of fun. All right. Well, thanks for listening and watching, everyone. And we'll chat next time in the next podcast.
thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Love you. Bye.
Love you too. Bye.